Welcome to part 2 of the ultimate guide to starting a screen printing business with $0. In this series, my goal is to help you start a business from absolutely nothing and grow it to the point where it can replace and eventually exceed your full-time income. Between where you're at and where you want to be, I've identified several milestones and I've broken them down into tiers. As you achieve each new tier, your focus will naturally shift and expand. This way, you can hit the ground running and learn why you operate rather than feeling completely overwhelmed by all the steps it's going to take to get started and just never getting off the ground. So if you're just starting out with no money, no equipment, and no experience, stick around. If you're just starting out with no money, no equipment, and no experience, we're gonna call that tier 0. The big secret to getting past tier 0 into your own entry-level equipment is gonna be using something I call the deal hacking method. In a nutshell, you need to find a buyer who needs screen printing, take a 100% upfront deposit, connect with a wholesale screen printer to fulfill the order, and then pocket the difference between the wholesale price and the retail price that you charge your customer. Depending on the size of the sale, you'll bring in anywhere between $100 and a couple $1,000s in profit on your very first order. Save that money and repeat the process until you have enough money to buy your own entry-level equipment. After the first sale or two, you can drop the deposit down to about 50% and use some of the money that you've already saved to pay the wholesale printer whenever you go and pick up the garments. And that may or may not make finding a deal easier. The strategy here, though, is to just jump in and get started. This is going to essentially make you a broker for the first few months, because if you try to jump in and figure out the business side of things and learn production and artwork and accounting and payment process and all of this different stuff up front, it's going to be overwhelming. So breaking it down and saying, all right, I'm going to start my business like today, but I'm only going to focus on the deal closing and the artwork side of things, and I'm going to allow somebody else to do the production for me, at least until I get my feet underneath me. Then, whenever you finally do bring in your entry-level equipment, you can focus all of your time and attention on getting good at that equipment, because you'll at least have a decent understanding of how to conduct a sale from beginning to end. But before you jump in as a broker and try to deal hack your way into your entry-level equipment, you've got to have several things in order. You're going to need to develop a price list, find some wholesale printing contacts, potentially get a resale certificate before you ever get started, acquire Adobe Illustrator or an equivalent product to be able to process and handle art at some level, or plan on paying the in-house artist at the wholesale printer to do the artwork for you, but that can be very expensive. And you'll also need to set up a form of payment processing like PayPal. The key here is that once you get started and you're working your way up to the point where you've got enough money to buy your entry-level equipment, you're going to be building an understanding of the logistics behind conducting an order. You're going to learn the sales process, and you'll be able to practice both communicating with your customers and conveying any messages or changes they have to the production facility that's working on it. Once you've saved $2,000 or $3,000, if you didn't just get a big windfall of a sale right out of the gate, you'll have some experience on the business side, most certainly. And then as you move into tier 1 and you have your entry-level equipment, you can kind of naturally shift your focus onto learning the production side of things. Once you've got the equipment in-house, you will more than make up for the amount of time that it's going to take to learn the equipment and cut your teeth and make mistakes, because paying anyone, even a wholesale or a contract printer, to produce your garments, for the most part, is a lot more expensive than you could do it yourself once you've got that equipment. And I can tell you from experience, nothing is more exciting than the first time you unbox all of your equipment, you get it out, and you prepare to set up your first job. There's a huge payoff coming. So in the next video, I'm going to share a strategy for developing your first price list and also for establishing relationships with wholesale printers. And in the videos to come, I may skim over some of the other aspects like design software and payment processing and getting a resale certificate, but I probably won't dive very deep into those aspects of it. I'm going to try to focus mostly on top-level strategy and some of the execution steps that are necessary to get you where you're trying to go. I hope this series is proving to be interesting so far. If you're enjoying it, please like and subscribe and stick around, because this playlist won't stay 2 videos for very long.